Hi, I'm Michelle Johnston, and I'm hosting another edition today of The Voice of Rio Grande, and I think we have a special show here for you today.
And my name is Tom Worley. I am the host of South Center's Chat, and of course both these programs are done in conjunction between the University of Rio Grande and the Ohio State University South Centers. And it's a real pleasure to be doing the show today. I think we have a real unique one, in that Dr. Johnston has accepted a really exciting opportunity down in Georgia as the president of yet another university, and is kind of wrapping up her duties here at the University of Rio Grande. And ultimately we want to talk about some the good things that have happened under her leadership over the last few years. But maybe just before you do that, Dr. Johnston, tell us a little bit about where you're going.
Absolutely. I am relocating to Georgia. Some of you who've watched this program and know this kind of pick up on the southern accent that I have, know that that is a little closer to my roots and to my family. I grew up in the Deep South, and I will be relocating there and will become the president at the College of Coastal Georgia. So definitely excited about the opportunity to serve at an institution that in a number of ways is very similar to what we do here at the University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College in terms of a student population that is diverse and comes from a lot of different backgrounds in an area much like, although this particular institution is not in the Appalachian region, is in an area where families are very, very important. The connections and generations of individuals who have stayed, you know, in the area and want to live there and contribute to their communities, and there's just a real kind of loyalty and connection like that. And also a lot of first-generation students and students who are looking for that opportunity to continue and to grow and maybe do some things with their education that prior generations and their families had not. So I think that there are a lot of similarities there. You know, it is dangerous for us today, Tom, because we are both hosts typically, and so we may jump back into that role as we go, because I know that as we've worked together over the last 4 years, I've seen so many exciting things happen under your leadership at the South Center. So I hope we can kind of weave some of that together in there.
A little bit, but there'll be other opportunities for that.
So all right, well that's fair enough.
I'm not trying to guide this awfully too much, Michelle, but at the same time, I think it is appropriate that you get an opportunity to share a little bit of review, but just a couple of things more about your new post at the University of Coastal Georgia. First of all, a geographical question. Is that northern part of Georgia or down toward Florida?
So it's toward Florida. Oh. It's right on the coast of Georgia between Savannah. So it's about an hour's drive south of Savannah and about an hour north of Jacksonville. Okay. So you're kind of right in between that area. Some people I know in this area travel to St. Simon's Island, Jekyll Island, Sea Island, that area, and that is right there really close to the campus. So.
Well, it sounds like you're going to avoid the kind of winters we have here for sure.
Just when I got used to it.
Okay, well, you're very adaptable if you got used to it over the last 4 years. I think most of us are native to this area are getting used to maybe a little bit tougher winters than we're used to, and colder temperatures for sure. And then just second of all, in terms of program, do we think liberal arts, or is there more kind of career-oriented, direct technical, specialized degrees?
Some of both. You know, it's interesting because you look, and I know we're going to have a chance to talk about some of the history and how we've linked to that in our current form at Rio. But of course, Rio was founded in 1876, and the College of Coastal Georgia is much younger than that. It was founded in the 60s as a community college, and kind of lived many years as a successful and very serving community college. And then it's only been in the past 10 years that the institution has transitioned to a bachelor's degree granting institution. And so that is the focus of the institution now. There are still a few associate's degrees that the institution offers, and those are very strong and in certain fields, but not highly technical fields.
Certainly.
That is kind of the purview of the technical college system in Georgia.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's really been exciting, and I think the work we've done here at Rio definitely has been something I've learned a great deal about, kind of bringing some of those pieces together. So
what a great preparation you've had in terms of having a community college combined with a four-year school here at the University of Rio Grande. It's, I'm sure, more complex than I might realize. I mean, you could say those two things. Well, you have two-year students, you have four-year students, but actually administering such a organization, I'm sure, is very complex.
Well, it is. I think it's exciting too, but it does have, the kinds of challenges that get you excited and ready to tackle the day, because you know that there are going to be things that are unique and different and special challenges to this combination that are blessings and those things that are the challenges that you're working through. But I think, one of the telling things to me about kind of that combination is I think about when I came to Rio in 2014. And so when I think about that, the new students that were here that came, that were freshmen along with me, and we came at the same time, I think about those students over the next 4 years and this idea of the combined community college and university. And one of the things that I saw is after my first year, you have, by May of that first year when we were having commencement and going through graduation, we had those students who had started that year had done some College Credit Plus. They had been taking some classes in high school, and they were graduating that first year. So they were finishing an associate's degree right off the bat, and they'd only been here 1 year, That had only been here one full-time year, as a college student and not dual enrollment. And then the next year I had many that finished an associate's degree that started with me here that year and finished in that second year. And then the next year you had some that were continuing to complete and went on to continue and pursue a bachelor's degree. And then this May, to congratulate students that started, that we've kind of gone through this four-year journey together, this whole process from freshman to senior, and to congratulate them as they walked across the stage last month was really, really special.
I can imagine that. I can imagine that. And it seems to me like it would be really thrilling, and I doubt that you collect data on this or if there's any special boxes to check, but students that maybe came here initially thinking, I want a two-year degree, and then I need to get out and get a job, but for some reason, hopefully a very positive experience and kind of that desire to learn more, stick around to do the balance of a four-year degree.
And we definitely have those students. I mean, those students that come in, there are so many, we kind of talk about the community college versus university kind of sense of those types of institutions, and you put those together and you have students coming with so many different goals. They're coming thinking that they do want to do short term or they want to do a certificate program that's 1 year, and then they end up stacking those. And I think that that's something that statewide and in partnership with the Ohio Department of Higher Education, that idea of those pathways and the stackable credentials, you see a lot of students, and that's really a nationwide kind of effect as well. So that's been really,
fits the pattern.
It does.
Sure,
it does.
Well, great. I of course, very interested in the University of Rio Grande, especially in our partnership in this very endeavor. I think this is one of the most concrete things, even though we've collaborated on some other items, and you've served on our advisory committee, the thing that we call the liaison committee over at South Centers, and brought your great perspective and wide purview to that. But maybe if there's just maybe the kind of the top couple things you want to touch on over the last 4 years, Michelle, that have taken place.
Well, it's hard to, and I like the way you put that, have taken place, because I don't think anything that we'll talk about today has a great deal to do with me. What it has a great deal to do with are the people that are here, that are deeply committed and caring for Rio, and that is a team effort. And so, you know, it didn't take me long, if I can kind of set this up a little bit, to find out just what an incredible place this is. I was embraced by the community on campus and beyond right off the bat, and what I found is that people cared. They really cared very deeply about Rio, and the reason they did, and there was a really consistent theme, is that people cared about Rio because they saw the difference that it made in lives. And you know, how can you not fall in love with that? So Rio has become my family. And you know, sometimes you think about those people you've known your whole life that you can go years without talking to them and then pick up the phone and it's like you just talked to them yesterday. That's the feeling I have about Rio. It hasn't been tested yet, but I feel like this place and the difference it's made in my life and the connections we have, that, you know, it's always going to be part of what's in my heart and in my mind. So I found just this fleet of people that were ready to make positive movement, and that's some of those are the things I'd like to talk about today.
Great. Well, just before you do that, I think the feeling is mutual.
Oh gosh.
With the people here. And you know, I don't have a wide set of connections here, but those that I have are saddened that Dr. Johnston is being lost to Georgia.
Well, I'll always be a friend of Rio's and want to see really great things happen, but I have felt that love and I've felt that support. You know, you just, it just is definitely there. And I think about, you know, just as I was coming on board, one of the things that had been in the works prior to me coming to Rio was the development of a new mission statement. And how important is that for any organization, college, university, business, whatever it might be, life, kind of your own mission statement in life. And that work had been going on, and I was fortunate to come in that last phase of it and to finalize that mission statement.
You can hold that up if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know. It's so tiny to read it, but
it's magnetic, right?
Yeah, it is magnetic. We put them kind of all over campus, and I don't know.
Yeah, very good.
But one of the things about this particular mission statement that I've been really proud of for all of us, because it is the heart of what we do, and it's the focus on our learners. And when you look at this mission statement and you think about the word that is repeated throughout this mission statement, it's about the learner. And it's so focused on that idea of growth, development, movement, and the student. So that was really exciting to have that kind of as part of the first kind of phase of me being here at Rio. And then we embarked on some really significant capital improvements. This campus, like we talked about, you know, founded in 1876. There are 31 buildings on this campus. For a small campus, that's a lot of buildings, and a lot of good things go on in those buildings. But there's a lot of upkeep and things like that. And you know, when we look at how do we take care of our students in the classroom and the quality of our academics, I believed, and I think we all really rally around this, that the things that we see need to match that. And that's what we've tried to do, and there's always a lot more work to do. It's never finished. But we embarked on over $2 million investment in our facilities, and we've continued to invest those state support dollars since then. You know, I can't say enough about my team and the people here that carry out the work day to day. Tim Pruitt, our Chief Financial Officer, and he has our maintenance and facilities grounds staff, and Clark Cruscamp and that group, and all of the hardworking and really often unrecognized buildings and grounds staff that just really work tirelessly. So those things are things that we hope are some kind of physical representations of the work, the really important deep work that we're doing in quality.
They go together. I think that you know, the environment that we live and work in is important, and what, as you put it, as what students see and experience in the way of facilities and the way the grounds are kept. And you know, I would just echo that as well, and it's never ending.
I know it isn't. Yeah, you never finish.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
The, you know, another one of the things that, as we were thinking about, you know, how are we taking care of our home, and making sure that we have safety considerations taken care of, and the living and the learning community is vibrant and supported, and we're thinking about how do we attract students, and then how do we keep them here, and all those things. One of the things that we also have spent a lot of time and energy on is our marketing and our recruitment efforts. So our Vice President for Enrollment and Marketing, Jamie Bissett, and his staff, you look at people on his team like Jean Ann Vance and Rick Thomas and Jessica Patterson and Lori Taylor, and all of these people in the marketing side of things that really have worked to expand the exposure of the institution, and that people need to be aware of what's going on here and what we have to offer.
Certainly.
And then you think about the Christy Russell that is on Jamie's staff that heads our admission staff, and her staff of recruiters, and it's really neat because right now, it's probably dangerous saying this, but coming to mind, we have 2 of our recruiters right now who are former students.
Wow.
And then I'm thinking about also one of those who finished her master's degree, so that's a 3rd one that finished her master's degree and walked across our graduation stage in May. But these are students, you know, they were our students, they're now our employees. It's just really exciting to see that. And, you know, when it comes to recruiting students, it's a campus-wide event. I mean, people that are working behind the scenes in the studio, people all across our campus, whether it's staff or faculty, they're a part of that recruitment and supporting students. So
impressions are made in places that we don't think of.
That's true.
And decisions are made a lot of times on small matters or, you know, details.
Right.
And so it pays to that everybody back to that mission about
Right.
the learners and the potential learners
Right.
having that really strong experience and building that attachment when they come.
Absolutely.
And, I can just remember a nephew of mine that he came home from a college visit, and he said, as soon as I walked across the campus, I knew this is where I needed to go.
Right.
And I don't know what triggers that
but
precisely, but
there's something there.
there is.
And you know, we find that when students come and tour our campus, if we can get them on the campus and they can meet the people here, and they can see the beauty of our campus, most, you know, there are so many of them that say this is the right place for me, you know, and that's exciting. We have orientation sessions going on this summer where students are getting their schedules and getting ready for classes and all that. But
exciting.
you know, one of the other things I'd really want to point out about the focus of our work is that I found over these 4 years that people have gotten more and more excited as they've talked to me, and we've kind of continued relationships about creating a better tomorrow than we had today here at Rio. And fundraising in this particular position is always a priority. It's something that's very important, and it's vital for any college or university. And what we find is that, you know, you always want more of that, and we're continuing to grow it. But people were eager to help. How can I help? And when you think about last year alone, we awarded over $600,000 in just private scholarship money.
Great.
Just donors wanting to help others, and alums that want to, you know, kind of pay it forward. And over the past 4 years, we've really seen our alumni family increase in terms of those that want to continue to help in some way. And we've seen that increase, our alumni donors, the number of those increased by over 170% over the last 4 years. And that is not my work, that is our work. And I can't say enough about Kara Willis, who leads that office, and Annette Ward worked in that office as well with alumni, and Delissa Edwards and Debbie Harold, but they are great. And you know, one of the things that's hard is as you're trying to meet different initiatives and goals and things like that you have for the institution and meet those needs, you often need dollars that are not necessarily designated and earmarked.
You need some flexibility.
Yes, and those are hard dollars to raise.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that Kara and her team, and we've all worked together, and this is a campus-wide effort too, whether it's deans or athletic staff or whatever it might be, our athletic director Jeff Lanham working on this, we've increased our unrestricted giving by over 200% in 4 years. And that again is about the people who said, you know, we have important work to do here, and we need resources to make sure that's happening. And
well, when you get that passion and you get that vision, and you get focused on mission, it's
Right.
easy to go out and say, this is worth
Right,
support.
exactly.
It all works as virtuous circles.
It does, and so that's been really exciting. And then
Great.
working with you, Tom, and the South Centers and the work that's happened with these broadcasts and just kind of passing the word and being a center for support and information for the community has been huge. And being recognized with an award from your center, that was one of the really very, very special moments of my time here too.
We
So
enjoyed that day. I
appreciate
think
it.
Michelle's referring to the Supporter of the Year that we award one of these each year, and Michelle's support for us, and I think it emanates kind of again back out of a long-standing relationship on business development, community development, but more specifically on the joint efforts of the studio and the broadcast work that has been done. And it's no small matter that your studio is very advanced over here at Rio Grande due to some investment that you've been willing to support.
Right.
And we're beginning to catch up. We've got a long ways to
Good.
go yet,
Yeah,
but I do know that we are able to conduct interviews and have some semblance of what you have here over at our center at Pike and in the Endeavor Center.
Right.
And so we hope to continue to build on that. And I know that that is really a lot of the future when we think about focusing on learners, is reaching them where they are.
Right, exactly, taking that to them.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
that's been exciting.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the other things that kind of comes to mind about, you know, those issues that are important to our community, one of the areas we've really been able to work in, and I think Rio have a very strong voice in this effort, is related to Title IX and the efforts that are going on nationwide, but especially the leadership that the state of Ohio has had through the Changing Campus Culture program. And I've hosted, you know, so many wonderful people on this program, and some of them to talk about that issue, but being able to really represent some of our interests and talk about this important issue in Washington. I was at the White House twice for meetings related to this, and then met with Secretary Betsy DeVos, and to have a small roundtable group to really talk about how this is impacting our campuses and our students and you know, our communities and visitors, and it's just, there's a lot to that, but that's been really rewarding work to be a part of.
Okay, very good, very good. Just to confess, I know I've heard of Title IX, but I'm not quite conjuring up precisely what the initiative addresses.
Yeah,
I apologize.
it is. I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of our viewers may not have watched some of those other programs, and it just kind of is commonplace to me to say it that way, but it's about sexual assault prevention and response on our campuses. And it's been so, you know, this is an issue that's been raised at a very high level on many of our campuses, and there have been a lot of issues on our college campuses that we need to address and make sure that these are safe places for our students. So that work has just been, it's been one that I think as a campus we've been very committed to, and we would continue to do that.
Perfect. Well, excellent. And it comes back to that focus on learners.
Right,
And essentially, I guess it would go, it's so obvious, but you know, learners are humans, people.
Oh yeah, right.
And we want to nurture people.
Exactly.
And all of this relates, almost everything that you've talked about comes right back to what your mission is and what you're ultimately trying to do, and you know, personally invest in.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
what better representative in these areas than yourself?
Well, I appreciate that. When you talk about, you know, mission, one of the things that comes to mind that is pretty recent and developing, but it's taken some time to get there, and that is the property that's immediately adjacent to the campus. It's just contiguous, right, connected to the campus is the Bob Evans Farms property.
Right.
And a lot of people know these stories, and we could talk about this for several more shows and fill a lot of shows.
I did have this on my agenda. I didn't get it written down. I'm so glad it's coming up.
Yeah.
Proceed.
So this property, the long and short of it, because I know we don't have a lot of time left, is that property was originally owned by the college. And Bob Evans purchased that property from the college at some point, and then when the Bob Evans restaurants and the company itself was looking to make some changes and kind of do some reorganization and some selling into different areas, they approached us about that property and said, you know, would you be interested in maybe purchasing this property? And kind of through one thing or another, our conversation expanded, and they ended up gifting us 270 acres of that property just as a gift. And that is really, I'm excited about to see where the future of that is and what that's going to do for the community. I think huge things can happen, and I'm really excited to see what kind of impact the acquisition of that property will have.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a big addition. I don't know what the acreage of the campus was before the 270 came along, but it would be a substantial.
It's a substantial increase. It is, and just beautiful land. You know, it's just beautiful, and a lot of possibilities that we can do there. But
you know, with agriculture and natural resources, we have a little bit of an interest in that area. There may be future collaboration. I think we've even touched on it along the way in some of the discussions in preliminary stages. Maybe not with myself, but with other people from our college and the University of Ohio State, and I think it's only natural to the extent that we can find programs and initiatives that would involve us both. I think the groundwork is laid very well, Michelle.
I hope so. I'm excited about that.
Certainly.
One of the things that we've been really proud of is this book that came out last year. It's a new book, and we've talked about it on this show, and the authors have been on the Voice of Rio Grande, and this book is really a great book. It's available on Amazon. It's a wonderful book, but I had been asked to write the foreword, and one of the things in the foreword, I usually don't quote myself, but this was about the people of Rio, and I started by saying, you know, that it's people above everything else. This place is about the people, and you know that you see in this book, you see the fiber, the lifeblood, the heart and the soul of an educational institution that's faced incredible challenges and has achieved remarkable successes, and that really, I think, is the heart of any great organization, is the people. Great.
So this is kind of a bit of a history.
This book is called The University of Rio Grande and Rio Grande Community College, and it's by Jake Bapst and Ivan Tribe. And it's just in the Campus History series.
Absolutely. Well, I think, Michelle, our time is winding down very, very quickly. Such a pleasure to visit with you one more time in this way. I hope not the last time, forever and a day. But Georgia and Ohio sometimes meet in strange places. You never know. I would look forward to that, and being very supportive of anything when you look back up this way that, hey, I wish I had this or that or the other. We'd certainly try to help you, and want to wish you the very, very best on a very great trajectory that you're on, and it didn't surprise me that Michelle's leaving Rio Grande. She's going to be president wherever she goes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The best, very best to you. And as we wrap up this edition of a kind of a combined program, we've certainly enjoyed it, and look forward to being back with you with another South Centers Chat, and maybe a follow-up to the Voice of Rio.
Yes, awesome.
One last time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.